Has The View finally lost their mind? Well, yeah, of course. Let's go ahead and just make fun of them together, though.
Yeah, the Defense Department has the U.S. Marines on high alert right now. Now, you know,
Oh, yeah.
is it warranted or does...
Whoopi Goldberg's career as a jazz musician is going great, by the way. She is really for.
Does this sort of escalate the situation? I mean, whatever happened with states' rights, I thought that was what you do, because you tell the state, this is what we're thinking of doing. You know, you don't just send people in. You don't just send troops.
You don't just send troops in, burner.
But what do I know? I've never run a state. But I don't really, you know, when you come in and everyone is, when you go into the donut shop to look for people and you're dressed in tactical gear, you're creating an issue.
You created an issue.
You're creating a problem. You want people to come, you've scared them. Even when people are supposed to be there, when they come to talk to the judge, you're arresting them right after. What is going on here?
I think what really matters from sort of
Tell us,
a long view here is the fact that he is militarizing and deploying the Guard for the purpose of...
What else are they supposed to do during all of this rioting? It's like Trump is militarizing. By the way, a federal judge signed off on that, and their state was doing nothing. Their mayor, their governor, no one would do a thing for these poor people in California. With everything going, I mean, there's good people amongst that riot that are just caught up in day-to-day life, and they clearly are not willing to see that.
Policing Americans' protest activity, right? Our freedom of speech, our freedom of assembly. And there's a very big, stark demarcation between military troops and law enforcement, public law enforcement, civilian law enforcement. Right. And you are an army turned inside to police its citizens and cause chaos, fascism. And
oh my God, there it is. Fascism. Take a drink every time they say fascism.
I think that's the way, and civil war. I think that's the way.
The Civil War, which is so funny, by the way, I believe there's a civil war happening, but it's on the other end. Like, they are literally working with the government of Mexico to attack America. And if you think I'm kidding, the president of Mexico has literally been calling out America, being like, well, how dare you do this? These are just peaceful people that are illegally in your country. How dare you try to send them back here? Well, if you love Mexico so much, why doesn't everyone who loves Mexico so much go live in Mexico? It's a beautiful place to live. I have some great friends over in Mexico. Go live over there if that's what you want to do.
We need to look at it, because deploying the National Guard is supposed to be a last resort. But what this president is doing is that
and this is the last resort. What other resorts are there?
He's saying he's going to deploy them anywhere in this country where there is protest.
Damn right.
So that is certainly not a last resort.
Riots, by the way. She's going to say protest a bunch. Riot. Don't let their language confuse you. Lefties like this try to do that. They're going to try to confuse you with language. And then years down the line, like in 2020, they're going to be like, oh, well, you remember those 2020 protests, those BLM protests. No, they were riots destroying businesses, but because it was years ago and they used the proper language, people just put it aside. Yet I still hear everything about January 6th. Isn't that fascinating?
Use of military troops. And one thing that I'll finally say is that there was some really important recent congressional testimony in December, and it was from retired Major General Randy Manner. And he said members of the military are not trained in civilian law enforcement because it's not a military function. So military involvement in mass deportation efforts would undermine the public trust in our veterans, in our armed forces. So it is escalating this situation.
We need to know that
thank you to everyone in our armed forces. Anyone who is a veteran watching this video, I genuinely appreciate your service. Do whatever you need to clean up our country. Seriously. At this point, it sounds crazy and authoritarian to say, but do what you need to do, because we've got to get this under control.
The last time a president circumvented a state governor and sent in the National Guard without the governor requesting it.
No, but a federal judge did actually grant it. Isn't that crazy that you skipped over that?
Was in 1965 when Lyndon Johnson sent in the National Guard to protect protesters who were civil rights protesters in Alabama, where there was that racist government.
Yes, protesters, not rioters at the time. Protest. Do you not know the difference? She does. She just doesn't want you to know the difference.
Today, he is sending in the National Guard to attack the protesters who are there. And look, this for me hits really close. I'm Latino, I'm an immigrant.
Look at all the protesting.
Getting dragged through the street. I want to say to the Latino community, we must.
Shame on you, actually. That's what I want to say. Shame on you. These protests are ridiculous. And it's not the Latino community, by the way, but anyone who is a part of this community who is doing this, shame on you.
Be strategic. We must be nonviolent. We have the right to protest. We are Americans. This is our country. We have the right to free speech, but we cannot fall into the trap that Donald Trump is setting.
No, you're setting the trap. And literally, by the way, no, they're not citizens. These are mostly illegal people and or people are supporting illegal people being here that are protesting, not Americans. There's not citizens doing this. Mostly, I mean, you know, they're not doing it on behalf of citizens, I'll tell you that.
Wanting to turn this into violent protests and distract from his feud with Elon Musk, distract from the parade that he's throwing himself for his birthday, distract from the chaos of his tariffs. And we have to show up with American flags because we're not invaders. We are Americans. And so many of the people that are getting detained are here under some legality. The people who didn't want to wear masks during a pandemic really want to wear a lot of masks now that they are dragging women through the streets.
What he wants to do is
What the hell does that even mean, by the way? It's so sickening. It's just such
to
BS.
Create a scene. He wants to say, I was just
And by the way, notice dragging women through the streets. Well, what about the men that are being actually, you know, caught and arrested? And dragging through the streets is BS. But again, you notice their rhetoric. It's women, these poor Latino women. Some of them are here legally, therefore we can't arrest any of them.
In sending in the National Guard because look at how violent these protesters are, which they were not until it was exacerbated.
Yes, they were.
I think he has a strategy.
There is video evidence. I'm going to stop on this and just say there is video evidence that things were horrifically violent before Trump got involved or anyone from the federal government had to get involved. It's evidence. You just can't.
Here.
No.
He is losing support in
Look at
every
this
area.
footage.
Inflation, the economy, tariffs.
He's not. He's way off.
Foreign policy. His ratings are dropping
No. By the way, tariffs made us billions in 1 month. His ratings are doing great. I gotta just be honest with you.
It is not illegal to be undocumented. It is not a crime to be undocumented. Are not
problem
illegal.
is that they
no,
are.
but I'm just saying we need to put that information out there.
It
It is a civil infraction.
Yeah, and I don't think it's actually.
It can be considered so because judges are nice. Therefore, they're not going to federally indict you and then put you in prison for a long time. So they'll just send you back to your country. It is a federal crime.
Broadly a misunderstanding. I think that 60% of Americans believe it's a civil offense and that if you come here and you're undocumented, that you should be deported.
But he actually knows some point.
It's a civil offense.
The way he's handling immigration, not the border. And I think a lot of Americans voted for him on immigration, thinking he was going to deport gang members and criminals. And he is deporting our friends, our neighbors, mothers.
Good. Mothers, daughters,
fathers,
children. Yep, children.
Working hard.
Absolutely get them back to their home country so they can be legally documented. Children who grow up without any legal documentation, that's horrible. That's terrible. Their parents are bad people for bringing them to a country and then being like, by the way, we're just going to live here with no documentation. You can't get a driver's license. You can't get identification. You can't get a good job. That's terrible. Yeah, get those children back to their home country so that they have a chance at life. And also just keep in mind the rhetoric they are using to try to obfuscate all of this stuff.
To make America actually function. And this is not what I think a lot of people voted for.
A lot of people don't.
This is.
It is.
Everyone did.
Sarah's right about this.
These polls are consistently across the board showing there's more support than you would realize.
Well,
if you stay in your own.
Well, so let me throw this out to you because something I heard is I saw this list of countries that can't come, people can't come in.
Katie.
What did they do? And so I read some of the things. They said people have overstayed their welcome. That's why they're mad at people in Chad. because they tend to overstay their welcome. Are we about states' rights? Are we about keeping people in or out? Are you out because you got here in a different way because you fled the nation you live in, and maybe you were able to get in, and now you've been trying to stay and doing it right?
Well, to the jazz singer Whoopi Goldberg, no, it's not because of that. It's because you overstayed your legal visa. Therefore,
and you
you're
still
not here
get
legally
thrown
anymore.
out. So what is it?
That you're not here legally anymore. Like, listen to her being like, what is it? What is it? What could it possibly be? Well, it's overstaying your visa. Therefore, you're not legally here at all.
Is this just pure fascism that's happening? Is this is this what's going on?
Hey Whoopi, name one single country where you're allowed to move into legally and they won't kick you out for being there illegally.
There are indications of fascism.
Well, it feels like.
Oh, it's indications of fascism. I get it now. Because if Hitler ate eggs for breakfast, therefore you're Hitler. So, if a fascist, Mussolini, did you know Mussolini liked bacon? So if you had bacon with your breakfast today, you're adjacent to Mussolini, just so you know.
If you're telling me as an American I can't protest, if you're telling me that I can't come here and try to stay because I'm afraid to go back to my country. That doesn't sound like America to me. That's not the America I know. Yeah, we want to get rid of the bad people. Everybody wants that. But
no, you don't. They were literally taking cartel members away, and that's what started the riots. So no, you don't get to say you want to take out the bad people. You're currently defending them, jazz singer Whoopi Goldberg.
To recognize that some people got here in the strangest, craziest ways, but they're here for a reason. People don't just leave.
You're not a Christian. You don't get to say that. You don't get to act like there's some cosmic reason. No, you're not a Christian. You don't get to pretend like they're here for any reason other than they're just here because they want to benefit from our system.
Everything they know to come here just to do. I see you. I know.
I'll see you on Noah. But tell me what you think in the comments down below. I think this is ridiculous. Listen to all of this coping, and they're just lying to you. All of this is a lie. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.